Silly. So Brooke and I are out of order with our... Okay, there's a lot going on, right?
There's a lot going on.
Getting a new house and moving in.
Remodeling at the same time. So that in and of itself is insanity.
Yeah, it's crazy. We have a lot of stuff going on, but what's funny is I was just telling Charlie this the other day.
That's her husband.
That's my husband. That I have had so many times in my life where I go, I have no idea what the next 3 months are going to look like. Or what my life is going to look like in 3 months. I have zero idea.
Yeah.
I have zero idea what my life is going to look like in 3 months.
That's comforting.
Isn't that crazy? That's not normal. Do normal people live like that?
I mean, me personally, in a way, kind of. You guys are in more of a Uber transition, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that now you've figured out which direction you're going in. I think before there were a lot of paths available to you where you were feeling even more so. But I think that it mostly has to do with just our business that we're in, right? Because we go from project to project to project, and a lot of them are uncertain as to timelines sometimes or
that's a
availability.
Lifestyle. Being in the industry is a lifestyle for sure, but I feel like major life changes have been, like, even since I was younger and I first moved from Cleveland to Chicago, I was like, I have zero idea what my life is going to look like in 3 months. I have zero. I can't even picture it. I can't picture that I'm walking down the streets. I can't picture that I'm getting to know a neighborhood.
Because we're bored easily. We need change.
That's what Charlie said. He's like, well, it is about 5 years where we're like, the house is dirty. Let's move.
We've put our time in here.
I'm not doing spring cleaning. We're just going to move.
We're going to sell the
house. We did find a spider the other day and we were like, let's just move.
Let's just go.
This episode is fun, Brooke, because this is Farting Around with Cam.
We are farting around.
Farting around with our friend Cam. Which is usually going to be the first week of the month, which is going to be so exciting. But we read a book.
We read a book, people.
I listened to a book.
Mel listened. She listened. She uses Speechify, and guess who gets to read to her?
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg reads to me.
Read Sweet Valley High. I can only imagine.
It's awesome, actually.
Probably was way more interesting than me sitting on my Kindle and reading it.
I'm going to tell you what, though. This book is very different than I remember. And I'm excited for that we did the work on this. Like, we read it and people can listen. So if you read it when you were younger or whatever, wait till you hear some of the things that we discovered were going on in these books.
That must have thought, well, it's just how it is. Wow, look at how it is out there in California.
That's right.
Or Midwest girl.
As a girl or as a boy or as a relationship or as a family.
Yeah.
Like, crazy that these were just normalized. These are the books that should be banned.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Judy Blume can stay. Yeah, this was crazy.
They're like banning To Kill a Mockingbird, but yet we still get our Sweet Valley High.
Wait till you guys hear. Are you ready? Do you want to go, Brooke? Do you want to?
Are we go? We're going to the episode. We're going to episode.
Let's do it.
Farting around with friends.
Fart.
With friends. You go into Half Price Books and it's these huge pictures of Cameron with books like.
Just like.
Oh. Not reading.
I can pull. There's pictures on my social media. It's so funny.
So good.
Oh my God.
Lindsay has had this
poster.
Big, huge poster.
My mother and Lindsay still have these posters.
Yeah. In their house. Like, it's the size of a wall.
Yeah, they're
it's
huge.
Crazy.
It's huge. Poster size. It's huge.
And he's cheesing so hard.
I love it.
It's great.
Anyway, Half Price Books.
We do have to get to the book.
We're actually here to do a show on a funny thing, right? Like, we start talking about this, I don't know, in one of our intros or something. We were like, like a Sweet Valley High book. You remember those? Ha ha ha! And we're like, we did
it.
One.
We did it.
We read it. The first one.
We read the first one, Sweet Valley High. We did not read the Sweet Valley Twins one, and we'll discuss this later. But I'm wondering if it's different because there wasn't as much sexual misconduct happening in the original Sweet Valley Twins.
Okay. So I'm curious to the answer to that, but at the same time, am I?
I know.
Well,
right?
I was also trying to think because I read some of these books, right? So I'm like, yeah, Sweet Valley High. Yeah, I read those. And so I'll let me just give a little intro if people don't know. A little Sweet Valley High is a series of, which is what they call young adult novels, which to me, I was like, I was 8. So now the reason why I bring that up is because now I'm thinking, was I reading the Sweet Valley Twins, and Sweet Valley High was like a young adult. Not
and now this first book was also 1983, keeping that in context as well. The one that we read was 1983.
And I was 2. I was 3.
Oh, I was not.
So,
let me just finish real quick.
Okay.
So this series of young adult novels, it's attributed to the American author Francine Pascal. I think I'm saying her name right. These books chronicle the lives of identical twins Jessica and Elizabeth Wakefield, who live in the fictional Sweet Valley, California, a suburb near Los Angeles, which I keep thinking is kind of like, I want to say the Valley, but I feel like it's like Malibu. Because they're talking about on the cliffside and like, I wish we lived over there.
Maybe it's Palisades or something.
Yeah, Palisades. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Okay. This series began in 1983 and concluded 20 years later after the publication of 181 books.
So 83, I'll bet, was Sweet Valley Twins and then Sweet Valley High. So because Jessica and Elizabeth went through elementary school.
Maybe that's
middle
what I was
school.
reading.
So I think if in 83 it started, that's when we were littles.
Okay, that makes more sense because they were definitely in high school prepping for college.
In this one,
yeah. No, they were fast.
Shit, I was like, I am not letting my child read this book
out in front of their house kissing. Could you imagine? My parents would come out and snatch my arm.
Listen, it goes harder than that.
Exactly. Well, this series quickly gained popularity and spawned several spin-off series, including Sweet Valley Senior Year and Sweet Valley University, as well as a television adaptation. So, which I kind of forgot about, but I went and looked it up. You can go on YouTube, and it was the Doublemint twins. And one of the girls, the blonde girls, she went off and did shit in like comedies. She was in
I'm going to look this
up
right now.
Why was she in White Chicks, I feel like?
I'm going to look this up right now because I vaguely remember this, actually.
I remember the Doublemint twins.
So they had a show, Sweet Valley High, and they each of them, but only one of them went on. You know what I mean? Not both twins had a career.
Well, there's always a better twin, right? Yeah.
Sorry,
there's
twins.
Always, which nobody really wants to talk about it, but there's definitely always a better twin. But
absolutely, White Chicks. She was in White Chicks. She was she was in White Chicks. She was like, oh my god, she was the one with the short hair.
Yes.
Oh, in the dance off, she's the one in the front with the dance. Okay,
she was the one with the short hair.
Yeah.
So her and her twin
I was like, oh my god,
and she was Jessica.
I remember it was in the 90s when they had the razor thin eyebrows. I totally remember this.
Or 2023 trying to grow them back.
It will never happen if you
listen. Do you know? Can I tell you guys something? I have not done anything to my eyebrows since the beginning of 2022 or 2020, the pandemic.
I'll be honest with you. The only thing I'm getting is these few little ones right here when I go to get these little ones.
Oh, mine are right coming in. Before 2020, I had like darkies under here and between, and I'm not kidding you, not a single.
You are getting rid of them unis.
I haven't done anything. I don't know.
Is it because we're getting older and our hair's just
I was going to say,
not growing back?
I hate this, and I hate this for you all as well. I think we're actually just getting older because I noticed that as well. Like, I used to, and again, you can even look at my half-price books promo. I had real bush. That was before I knew what waxing was. Like, that was nature. Like,
your
that
brows
was
were
Mother
on
Nature.
point.
And they were still in a good shape though. But like since then I have found like I waxed for at least 10, 15 years, like solid. Yeah. But it shaped my eyebrows so well that like I don't even grow hair here anymore, like at all. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely impossible. I don't. I might get like little
I heard waxing does that over time.
Yeah, I rarely need to even pluck them. It's so fine. And I only get, again, I was shaped so well under, I only get like a couple of hairs because I'm a headed man. I'm headed like animal. Yeah. And I get like a couple of hairs that I need to like pop out. Otherwise, my eyebrows have maintained their waxed shape.
Awesome. And those two hairs are like as thick as a rope.
Thick as because like fucking broom bristles.
You should let them grow as long as possible and then do like
just two.
Just one on each side, hang down like the longest
lashes ever. Instead of the Fu Manchu right here, like where it's really long, right?
Yeah. I don't know if Fu Manchu, we can say that anymore. Can we say it Fu Manchu? I don't know.
That's well, yeah, because Fu Manchu was a character. He was a character. That was his name, was Fu Manchu. So that's what,
Okay.
That's where the Fu Manchu
comes. But you just do that right here with your eyebrows.
Oh. So that is the
like those ladies that grow their tonails really long, and then like there's a video of them. People are like, "How the fuck do you put your shoes on?"
They don't.
That part. So that's what I was getting to is they don't get bushy anymore, but the hairs that are still there that are gorgeous, I could literally braid those bitches and sell them in fucking like. I could sell them for charity and give them overseas to women who need ponytails. Like
exactly.
My eyebrow hairs are like feet long. That's a good idea.
Well, that's what I was about over the back. Over the back.
That would.
I could have
like
bangs.
tuck them behind your
Do
ears.
it for yourself. You don't have to have the invisible hair anymore.
Yeah.
You guys.
You can like flip them whenever you're like having a moment.
Could you fucking imagine? Well, that's what I was about to say. Usually, as we grow older, we don't like lose hair. We actually like get a hairier in places where there was never a hair.
I have the blonde, weird hairs that like I'll look and it apparently has been there for like 3 months and nobody's fucking told me that. I'll look in the mirror and be like, what the fuck?
And
how did
which
this get
mirror
down
though?
To my
you know
nipples?
What mirror it is? It's the car mirror. You know that's where you see it for some reason. That rear view mirror shows every hair. On your face.
So this is something that I can't believe I'm going to admit on this podcast, but hey, here you go, America. Here it is, everyone.
Here you go.
So as I'm getting older, like I'm getting hair in places.
Oh, how is it on the man's side?
I've only seen on other people to where I'm like, ew, you fucking weirdo. So like, no, I'm like changing my earrings the other day and I get this really good light and I was like, I mean, it looked like if you could have zoomed in, like it looks like nothing now. Like hi, but you like get in there, and as you get closer, it was just like
it's like a Ren and Stimpy commercial. I mean, a cartoon when they get real close, and it's like and the foghorn goes off.
I got in there with tweezers. Like I was in there for 5 minutes, and still
is it
just
like your ear hole, or is it like on your lobe?
In like all it both. On the lobe, because I'd never seen it before, so it's just gone unkempt for so long to where I was like, this is a thing now? Son of a bitch!
You know what? Here's the thing. Here's what we're going to do, Cam. We all have little experiments. I'm using Vaseline on my knee. You need to let all that shit grow as long as possible, and we'll check in.
You can kiss my ass is what you can do with that.
All the hair now that's on your ass.
I've already got this situation going. Like,
well, now I'm wondering if since you
I work on tips at my job, I can't do that.
But since you lost your hair so young, I'm wondering now as you're getting older if it's just going to start growing back because it's like reverse now.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Like a reverse osmosis type, I don't think I don't. Quite know
hair
just grow the eyebrows out and comb it back. I think that's your best bet.
Strands.
Also, funny story. I'm walking out of work literally last night, and these two young kids are talking. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting thin," like blah blah blah. And this other guy who has like all this hair was like, "Bro, it's cool. Just get some minoxidil and put that like on these spots." I literally as minoxidil. So you know Rogaine.
Yeah.
Minoxidil is like the agent, like the chemical
like that a rub?
Like, creates hair. Yeah, whatever.
Can you get it over the counter nowadays?
Absolutely. You can go into a drugstore and just buy minoxidil. But I'm overhearing these two 20-year-olds
Oh, yeah.
like talk about this as I'm walking out. I just literally go, save your money. And just kept walking. They both were like, yo! I'm like,
You look good, bald,
money,
though.
kid.
I don't know if
I mean, luckily, I do.
You have a
luckily,
good head.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got a little cute little pea head, just a little old round
know
little
about my
head.
head.
Hi.
I don't know. Okay, we read a book.
Oh, sorry. Let's bring it back to, but yeah, I
did
luckily
read this
was
damn
blessed.
book.
I don't have any wrinkles, scars, hot dog packs in the back of my head.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you got none.
There was
of
no
those,
surprises, thank goodness.
We don't see the shape of your brain.
I
Some
got
people's
blessed.
bald heads, you can see like.
Yeah, I was worried about Gray when he was first born because he had like a weird flat spot. But no, Charlie's a really nice shaped head because he'll shave his head and it looks good. But I was worried about Gray, and so I went in to see if I could get him fitted for a helmet. And the guy was like, I mean, you can because it's, genetically, what does his dad's head look like? And I was like, well, actually, his dad and his grandpa are both, whatever. And so we didn't get it. And luckily, Gray has a really good shaped head, like round back of his head, which is nice. Yeah.
It's fine.
Anyway, racism.
Talking about shaped heads.
Right. Let's go into the sexism.
Yeah.
Sweet Valley High. Let's get into it.
Let's start with
wait, what?
Miss Jessica and Elizabeth Wakefield because these bitches, listen. Elizabeth is so nice, right? She's the editor of one of the
school
like the Gossip
paper.
Girl paper. Yeah, she's the Gossip Girl.
Yes, she's a writer.
Nobody knows who she is as far as being the Gossip Girl, but she's the one that writes the columns. Although we never really get back to that.
Yes, she's the Gossip Girl, right?
Yeah, and Jessica is a fucking bitch.
A fucking bitch.
From the moment
she's
we
the
meet
popular
her,
girl.
she has zero redemption from the moment we meet her.
Super vapid.
And when they first start talking about it, the very first sentences of the actual fucking book are body dysmorphia.
Lizzie.
Perfect American
Excuse
girl.
me.
Tan legs, blonde
Lizzie,
hair.
do you believe how absolutely horrendous I look today?
What the fuck?
So gross. Just look at me. Everything is totally wrong. Like,
no wonder.
That's what I was saying. Like,
read what?
Beginning reading this book to me, I was like.
Then they say, even though she's the perfect American specimen of a female, with tan legs
perfect
and blonde
hair.
Which
what
was exactly, you don't understand. Being
was...
from Indiana and being a short, muscular, brown hair, curly, unruly hair with like, just wanted to fit in. And I swear to God,
don't forget, she had a loud, cackly laugh. She has freckles and overalls, and she would wear a ponytail sometimes. And like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Gross. No, but my point was like, I would read these books, and I can remember going, I fucking wish. Like, there was this girl I went to elementary school with named Cammie Wilson. Like, I know her whole fucking name. And she was just tan, and it was winter time.
We wish her well now.
But it was like,
what's up, Cammie?
It was winter time.
What's up, Cammie?
And she's like tan with blue eyes. Like, she just stepped off the beach with her,
Arian,
no, but like her hair
perfect
was like the sandy
hair.
blonde beached hair.
Yeah.
And her name was Cammie. And when I would read these books when I was little, I always was like, that's her.
Yeah.
She was I won't say this person's name because this person actually could even be listening.
Oh.
But I had that person as well of who I was just like, oh, this is so.
Yeah.
That person.
Can I tell you guys something? We actually had twins in our high school who were blonde and beautiful. And now I'm going to tell you what, they're lovely.
Too.
They're very lovely. One was into sports. One was like, they were both really into sports. One was into training and stuff. And they're still really lovely, but they look, so every time I read the Sweet Valley High books, not the Sweet Valley Twins books, because I didn't know them yet, but they are exactly the same, where Missy was missing, Shelly had bangs and Missy was missing bangs. So that's how we told them apart. But Missy was more outgoing and go-getter, and then Shelly was more conservative and
book
sweet,
smart and considerate. Right.
Yeah.
Shelly.
No, I mean, they were always really great. They were never like bitchy or cunty or whatever, so they didn't represent. But I think back then, I didn't realize what a horrible person Jessica was. It was more about the opposite of them. Yeah. And now reading it, I'm like, this is a stupid fucking bitch, and I hate her.
Hate her.
Yeah. From the moment her script is even read. I was just like, oh.
And come on, like we'll get to it, but you know, she gets away with all this shit throughout the whole time and is horrible to her sister and horrible to other people.
And pawns things on her sister.
And lies and puts herself in situations.
Just like, what?
And then at the end,
and
Liz is just like,
they're identical twins.
Yeah.
But one of them is just like, oh my God, and what? Like, one uses her looks and sexuality as such an advantage, while the other one is just a normal person.
Yeah. And still successful in what she does without having to be that way. And be manipulative and...
Yes, Jessica is totally manipulative. So Elizabeth has a crush on Todd Wilkins, and Jessica wants to be with Todd because Todd's the captain of the basketball team and stuff like that. So Jessica,
because of his popularity, and she even is annoyed by the car he drives and like all this stuff. And she will talk badly to Todd about her twin sister in order to make sure that Todd doesn't like the twin sister.
Like lies and says, oh, she's so popular and has dates every night. Like
she has so many boyfriends.
Right. She's so many boys. And
Todd will be there saying,
she's a writer.
Yeah. And Todd will be there saying like, oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Well, have you told her that I asked if I could call her? Oh, no. But Elizabeth never even listens to anything I say. If I can even catch her with all of her boyfriends. And I'm like, so this bitch knows that this guy is interested in her sister. And she goes out of her way to block it, even though she doesn't really like him. I don't understand, because she knows he's not interested in her.
It's just attention.
Right.
It's pure attention.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm going to drag this next statement out just for a second because I have to pee. Can we pause this?
Yes.
Pee?
I'm dying.
Commercial break.
I have to pee so bad. Commercial break.
Do a lot of arms.
Moms are too.
Hi, guys. I am so excited to let you know that we're starting to get advertisers in, which is very cool. And so I'm going to read you the first copy we got in. So listen up and make sure you guys go to the websites to buy stuff through Mom's Art too, so that we get credit for it and you get a discount. This is an important message for anyone on Medicare. We are today talking about Medicare Part C, sometimes called the best Medicare. If you don't have Medicare Part C, you may want to call now and get Part C after you get Part B. Everyone is eligible for Part B, but you have to have Medicare Part A. If you don't want Part A, you should put B before A and then add C, and you'll get a variable of A that may benefit you best. Sign up for Medicare Part Z if you don't want Medicare at all. If you put Medicare A instead of Medicare C, you may be an anarchist and don't deserve Medicare unless you're willing to go through therapy, not covered by Medicare at all. This is stupid. What the fuck? What? I can't. Why do they make this shit so hard? Just move to Canada. Okay, so glad we're getting advertisers. It's fine.
No, what's funny is you're exposing the fact that what things that are said to us, which Melanie and I've touched on this before,
I've held into my 40s. Into my 40s.
Which is a lot with even
not
this
in
damn
your
book.
urethra you haven't, but yeah.
But
people
this book
at
did
my
that
job
to me.
even are like, "You were the fastest pee. Did you wash your hands?" And I'm like, "Sure did. Smell them." That's why I'm like, "Here."
Did you see that TikTok I sent you of the guy? Did you see that TikTok I sent you?
What TikTok?
So there's a comedian. I know I've sent you stuff of his before. I'll send it to you right now. No, Melanie, I know I've sent to her because I'm obsessed with him. And he had this thing. He was like, let's play Truth or Dare. And so it landed on, and he was like, all right, Sheila or whatever, Truth or Dare. Okay, Truth. So when you went to the bathroom just now, did you wash your hands?
Yeah,
did I say that to you?
I saw that one. Yeah.
So stupid. Oh my God.
Funny, yeah.
I dare you to go in there and wash your hands.
Yeah.
I love him.
Let's do Dare. I dare you.
Well, those kind of things is what this book did to me. It implanted things in me that I've thought about and been self-conscious about. Now that I'm older and I'm at that point where I don't give a fuck, but that carried with me for a long time that I didn't feel
we were
like I
reading
connected.
this, right? And it's funny because, like, again, now as an adult, I'm reading this and I'm like, oh my God, this is just kind of like, I would never have my children reading this. Like, this is.
Well, one of the
This
things that
is-
Jessica does is she is influenced by this bad actor in town. And what was his name?
Mhm.
Like Rick or something, or Andy?
Rick.
It was totally Rick.
Rick.
And he like
Hold on,
pulls
Rick,
over and he's like, basically, hey, sexy. I mean, I don't know if that's exact words, but that's
Yeah, he was
Pretty
the
much.
older
Yeah, I'm
kid. He
picking-
was the bad boy of the town. Like,
yeah.
he
And he's
smoked,
got a
he
loud
drank,
car and
He drove really fast and
Wore
reckless.
cologne.
Next
But
to her, like,
Nobody
told
ever
her to
did
get
anything.
in. Yeah,
Right.
like, I'm taking you out tonight.
right
and she's
now.
like, oh my God, attention, yes. And so
Right.
she does.
Right.
And they go to this bar and they're like in fucking
high
high school.
a bar.
Yeah.
And she's
And they order drinks and they bring them drinks. And dude gets drunk and gets into a fight. And then the police come and then the police car brings her home.
Well, he starts
then-
being handsy with her too,
He
though.
does,
And she's
yeah.
like,
and she's visibly again. This is 1983. She is visibly 16 years old.
Right.
yes.
Visibly 16 years old.
Well, let
But
me
they did not
just
care.
let's remind you of what I looked like at 16. I might have
Oh.
like kind of visibly been 16, but I had D boobs and a booty.
You had some
and
tickle bitties.
I had no
but you
idea
were
what I was
still-
working with.
I know your face now, and I know that face then. You were visibly 16 years old then.
But my
Yeah,
body
basically.
did not.
Visibly.
I
You
was
just had
yeah.
you just
I
had
didn't even
too
get my
much
period
going
yet.
on for a 16
She hadn't even had her
year old.
period yet, Cameron.
Oh no!
I know. I didn't break
Oh.
100 pounds until I was in like late 10th grade. It was terrible. I weighed 89 pounds. And
I was
had
already
milkshakes
balding
and-
in 10th grade. Oh my God.
It's just the worst. No matter how you look at it, it's just the worst.
Oh my God.
So
this
she,
bitch-
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
This
go
bitch goes to a bar and she gets, the guy gets handsy with her, which is inappropriate. And so somebody saves her and then the cops come and she gets taken home by the cops and she tells them, this Jessica, that her name is Elizabeth, her sister, sweet, sweet sister. And so then it goes around the school that Elizabeth went with Rick and got arrested, and Jessica does not deny it and doesn't even warn her sister about it.
No.
Yeah, and it was
Lets her go
definitely
to
Rick.
school and be
It was
completely
definitely-
humiliated.
Because
And
again, it's the 80s. Everyone is talking trash. No one is saying anything to her face. So she's going to school like, oh, nothing happened, normal day. And everyone's like, this bitch just got arrested. She was at a bar with this dude and there was a bar fight and she got escorted home by the cops. And
Uh-huh.
on top of the
no one
fact
can
that
talk to her.
her
And
sister,
everyone was like, we're not going to talk to her anymore. Just like that. We're not even
Yeah.
going to ask her. We're just not going to talk to her.
and then her sister on top of that, after doing all of that, is going after the dude that she's like passionately in love with.
Yeah,
Right.
Elizabeth loves Todd, and she now lets Todd believe that
It was her.
it was Elizabeth that went with Rick, and so Todd is totally disappointed. And he's like, "I can't believe that doesn't
Liz would
sound
do
like
that.
her." Yeah,
Oh, Jessica,
like
you're
Rick drove
so
a
amazing
Camaro.
that you would take, remember, because Jessica goes to tell him, he's like, oh, Todd, it was actually me. It wasn't, later, right? And Todd
Yeah,
was
but
like,
he
oh,
thinks
yeah, and he
Jessica,
was
the
covering
fact
for
that
her.
you
You're
would
so
cover for her.
chivalrous.
yeah,
Right,
and
to
then she
cover
doesn't
for
ever
her.
correct
And didn't even
him.
believe her.
And then they kiss. And everybody sees it and tells Liz.
Yep, and she's devastated.
And she's
Her
just
heart
like,
is
but
broken.
if Jessica loves him, I'll suffer.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll just suffer because obviously it was meant to be.
Because she's more popular than me and has more at stake. That's really what
This
it came
is
down to.
chapter
Yeah.
5. This is chapter 5.
On top of the fact that let's talk about the B and C story though.
I was just going to bring this up.
Okay,
the
go
B&C
ahead.
Stories. So B&C stories is the dad is a lawyer, and he most likely is going to be having an affair right? Well, first there's two families that hate each other.
With the new divorcee in town.
This was so Tori Spelling, 90210, season fucking 1.
Yeah.
She is who I had in my head as the twins.
That's a weird face to have, because I don't know if that could be a twin face. Like, that's hard to reimagine.
It shouldn't be a twin face.
That's right.
Whoa.
That's
hey.
Hey. So first, the two biggest families in town are trying to fight over what they're going to do next to the football field, and they're both douchebags. And then the dad is the lawyer, and he is having an affair, most likely, everyone thinks, and spreads it around school, right? That he's having an affair with a woman that works with him, Mariana.
Who is a newly divorcee.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They kept pushing
another
that.
thing, I hate that they chose her name as Mariana because, again, with all of these white people, Elizabeth and
Mariana,
and blah, blah, blah. Mariana comes in and you're like, oh, this Latin woman comes in and is like now stealing husbands.
Right? Terrible.
Strike number.
At least they made her a
400.
lawyer, though,
Right.
and not like
They at least did give her.
maid.
Well, she was
some
his
kind of
assistant
professionalism.
for most of the book. She was his assistant.
That part. She was the assistant.
They didn't tell us she was a lawyer until she got up and did the. Okay, we'll get to that. So, also, the brother is in love with who they think is Betsy, the bad girl from one of the bad families. Their brother Steve, and he comes home from college.
Steve with
and
the
doesn't want to
worst
go back.
dialogue, but the most level head in the whole book.
Totally level head. Totally level headed kid.
He's like, I just
I'm
want to
Steve
love who I
and the whole
love
book.
and not be judged.
Right. Why are you guys
Yeah.
being so extra?
Yeah, there's a lot
Take
of
a
those.
chill pill.
Those 3 B stories, they kind of wrap up real quick and like.
Real quick.
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
Exactly. That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
He's a Californian.
He's like, well, I'm just not going to school this week.
Side
God,
note.
duh.
Right. Side note, I was telling Brooke earlier, I was having such a hard time because it would, like, again, it started with her being like, I'm so garbage. Look at me. I'm I was like, this is going to be the roughest 159 pages I've ever read in my life. I had to get to a point to where in my head, I was reading it so dramatic, like, exactly like, oh my God, I'm so gross, and blah, blah, blah. And Steve being like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, chill out. Like, blah, blah. You know,
That
like,
sounds actually kind of awesome. You
should do the audiobooks.
You should do
And
the
I'm telling
audiobooks
you,
for it.
I'm telling you because Brooke, I'm when I get into something, I'm a speed reader. I read this in like an hour or two, but like
crazy.
that's what helped me as I got into like character in my head and just like, yeah.
I had Snoop Dogg read it to me.
Oh, on Speechify.
On Speechify, Snoop Dogg read the whole book.
Love
You
that.
need to do a commercial for as much as we reference Speechify.
I know, but I can't because I don't like to read. I have like ADD or I don't know what I
hate
have.
it.
But I can't see the words sometimes, and then I'll like read it. I'll read it, and then I will read like a paragraph and have zero idea what I actually read, and then I have to go back. So it takes
And sometimes
me a
I
really
have to
long-
go back.
Yeah, it takes me a really long time to read stuff. So I do Speechify and Snoop Dogg.
When
was
I'm
my
not
voice.
fully into it, it is exactly like that. But when
Oh.
I'm fully into it, I get submersed. And
I
that's
need to
what
do
happened
that. I need
actually
to
with
read
the Sweet Valley
characters
High.
like that.
I did, and that's the other thing I told Brooke. I literally focused on their dialogue. So what was in quotations is what I really was just like, read
okay.
all of that because it was so honestly, 1980, it
Easier
was
that
so
way?
kind of
Yeah.
predictable.
Yeah.
Like I could read into everything that was happening in between. So
Plus,
I would
they
read
also
just like
said
her
things out
actual
loud.
script.
They would be like, she
Yeah.
would walk away and be
It
like,
was a
I can't
soap
believe that
opera.
just happened.
Yeah,
And
the
she-
It was a
exposition
soap
was
opera.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a soap opera. So like I focused mainly on the script and I read through the entire book.
So you
within, like,
acted
2
it
minutes.
out, basically.
Yeah, in my head, acted it out completely. And
That's
it
a
was
good
so much
idea.
easier.
Are there
I'm gonna
any
have to do
scenes
that.
that
Yeah.
you guys found out of there that maybe we could act out?
I was thinking the same thing. There would have to be the Todd, Liz, Jessica scene, I think. Oh, no, the car scene.
Todd, Liz, Jessica, or even or Steve's introduction, like when he comes in and he's
the
talking
two sisters.
to, I think, Liz at first, and then Jessica comes in and was like, oh my God, and she like drops her books and was like, ah, and then they like
Yeah,
She's
that's
like,
a good
you're
idea.
Basically, like, you're the hottest brother, like, anybody could have. Like, they're so vapid. Like,
They're gross.
oh my God, we're so hot. And the other was like, you're gross. Like, ew. And then they start talking about, I think Dad's fucking this Spanish chick. Like, you know, like, who are you dating? It like, it
How
was
could you
the
date
whole,
her? She's
everything
the
was so
worst.
vapid.
Yeah, it was vapid.
Like, everything was just so vapid about, like, oh, I haven't seen you since you left for college, but, like, who are you having sex with? And I think Dad's having sex with this other lady. And, oh my God.
Well, and then it turns out that Steve isn't with, so the whole time it feels like he's with Betsy, who's the bad sister, like the bad kid of the bad family that's all druggies.
This bad family.
I just assume, you know what I picture? It's like they live in the Palisades or something like that. And this is the trailer park that's
trailer park.
Off
like
the ocean. It's still like a beach trailer park, but it's still
and
it's still $5,000 a month to park your trailer.
And they're probably fine. They probably don't do drugs. They maybe had an altercation.
Well, the dad's an alcoholic.
Okay, well,
the dad plays acoustic.
Exactly.
You know?
I think that it's not as bad as they say.
He might not be an alcoholic. That might be a rumor.
That's what I'm saying. And so then the daughter might have...
He's just an artist.
She might have got loose a little bit, but because she lives in a trailer park, she's no different than half the other kids.
And it was 83.
And
he smoked weed at this point. It was 83.
Yeah, that's true. All of the things that...
But he's not with that girl. He's with the sister.
Right, at all.
Yeah.
He's with the good sister. So it ends up turning out that it's like, oh, we thought he was with the bad sister. Oh, you're with the good sister in the trailer park?
Well, don't let the family bring her down.
Yeah.
The twist is, this book is basically a tale from the Midwest, but transferred to California.
I wonder where the author lived. I'll bet she did live there. She
Definitely Indiana.
The only thing,
but here's the thing: all the rumors that are going around about like Elizabeth and all these things, and then we find out at the end that they're not true, and blah 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 whatever. But all of the rumors about this family in the trailer park are just true. So definitely the dad is an alcoholic. He's probably molesting the children. One of the girls is a whore. The other one is the only good one, but afraid to leave, afraid to have anybody want to be around her, whatever. And then she has to go put her dad to bed, where probably he's a nurse. He worked nights. He comes home. She puts him to bed because she has breakfast ready. And he's like, I got to go to sleep. And she's like, of course. One of them might be running a little wild because she's, whatever. And then he has to get back up. Like, I don't, like,
he probably has cancer and is like taking chemo pills and working and has to go lie down. But no, the trailer park guy is. And then the only way that the youngest daughter can cope is because mom's gone. So she's out there wilding out. But they're the bad family.
She probably isn't, but she has to be like a waitress and works till 3 a.m. to help pay the bills. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do get to a point, though, where... there's a big dance, and Todd does ask Jessica.
Huge dance.
After Jessica tries to get Todd to ask her many, many times, and he does not, which should have been a sign to her that he's not fucking interested. But she finally gets him to ask because Elizabeth found another date, which is a friend of hers. And they go to the dance, and Todd is looking at Elizabeth most of the time, and so Jessica is pissed.
And also, side note, she goes with a friend on merit because he was a kind person who actually had the balls enough to like have a conversation with her and ask her.
He's
and
like
she was
the
like,
goofball
you know what?
Of the
and he's
school.
the goofball. He's like, he's like, who actually genuinely likes her. And she's not even checking for him.
No, and she said, he'll make me laugh.
Issue.
He'll make me laugh all night.
Right. And again, that wasn't even an issue. So the good twin, who we're not even casting as the bitch, is also a fucking bitch.
Yes, exactly.
They're both bitches. They're both fucking bitches, okay? They both fucking use her as bitches.
They are.
All right? This one is more into her books and writing, while the other one is like, look at my titties.
Right. One is more tolerance in a horrible
way. You're both a damn bitch.
Right. So she uses the like goofball, really kind-hearted, like class clown to go to the prom to like almost and not rich and she doesn't really realize that she's doing it, I don't think, I'll give her some flack for.
That's white privilege, though. Yeah, that's
she kind of like uses him to like make everyone else like jealous in a kind of way, And she had none of his feelings
Right.
like, and the forefront of anything. She didn't care about him.
No, she
She's
wanted
like,
to make
"Yeah,
all
I'll
the
go."
other guys that asked her out, like, no,
Right.
I'm going with him.
Well, and that's how it started. There was one really super popular guy that came up and asked her out, and she thought he was kind of a jerk, and so she said, "No, I'm."
He was
going
the
with
rich
him.
guy. He
He's
was
the
from the
family
powerful
that was
family.
trying to
Right.
turn the football field into like a, I don't know, what were they trying to turn it into? I don't even remember.
Well, one was
let's say casino, whatever. It doesn't matter.
it was
It's
a
fucking
factory,
stupid.
Or
and
a
then the other one was a
garden.
garden or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Plastic
so they
or
go to
rubber
the
or
well when they
something.
first get picked up. Jessica is pissed that Elizabeth came down before her and took away
Mm-hmm.
her stardom
entrance.
of her entrance was ruined because Elizabeth came down first. And then they go to the dance. Todd is looking at Elizabeth most of the time. And Jessica sees this and is pissed. So when she comes home, Elizabeth is already home because she went with a funny guy who didn't try to feel her up. And she is in her bed, and Jessica walks
the
in.
non-rapey guy.
Yeah, the non-rapey guy. And Jessica comes in and says, "I have to tell you about my night." And Elizabeth is like, "Well, okay, I'll listen to it." And, she's like, "I'm sure you had a great time." And she's trying to be nice about it. And because Jessica didn't even get a kiss from Todd,
And Todd ignored her most of the evening because he was
and
looking
Todd
at
ignored
Elizabeth.
her, she told Elizabeth that Todd was sexually inappropriate with her, didn't rape her with a penis, but
Was Mr.
mishandled,
Grabby Hands all night.
was grabby hands,
And was, like, physical with her
sexually
He
because-
grabbed her by the pussy.
because
Because it's okay when you're a star.
Well, you can be
to
president.
let you do it.
it's
As
been
we've
happening
learned.
for millions of years.
Millions,
Well,
Fortunately
but
and
she
unfortunately.
went as far as like he kind of like roughed her up a little bit. Like she made it sound
Right.
like he was aggressive with her
Yeah.
and
Right.
and,
No, he was
and
getting-
upset
yeah.
because she wasn't
Right.
giving it up.
Right.
Right.
And then so Elizabeth leaves.
Real,
Oh my
real Army
God.
Hammer.
Todd is a sexual predator, a little Army Hammer.
Right. Real Army
You
Hammer.
better
right?
quit.
This guy needs to fucking go away, by the way. Like, how does he even have a fucking what? Like,
Sidebar. Right.
Army Hammer needs to fucking go away.
Yeah.
Bye. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this new thing that we found. It is called Moonlight. The magic of Moonlight is simple. It's the experience of reading together with a projection on the wall. Moonlight bridges the gap between traditional and digital books. There are playful projections, vivid sound effects, and read-along features make this multi-sensory storytime a delight. Moonlight is here to help you create imagination-filled, interactive bedtimes for your whole family and make storytime magical again. Use the code Moonlight10 with our link to get an extra 10% off your purchase. It's very cool. So that's where I'll put the Moonlight commercial. So,
Action.
or one of our other commercials. So she tells everybody that this guy was fucking sexually aggressive with her, and her now sister thinks that this guy was sexually aggressive. So whenever he tries to corner her, because technically Todd really likes Elizabeth and has no idea that this rumor is being spread that he is a fucking
And
predator.
he thinks he's doing her a favor because she got caught at this bar and had to come home with like the bad guy. So he's
Right.
like, "Look, I forgive you for being
and
a
she's
little
like,
hussy."
bye. And she
Yeah.
hangs up the phone on him. And then finally it comes out what actually happened. And Jessica reveals that she made it up because she says she was trying to protect Elizabeth from Todd. So she said that he was a sexual predator because he didn't.
Liza
she didn't think that he was
Minnelli.
Right. Right. She didn't think that he was
Lies.
right for her.
Right for her.
And
Lies.
which, by the way, why is it your fucking decision who is right for your sister? But genuinely, all Jessica does is lie and make shit up to hurt her sister.
Yeah.
Her
Which
sister.
really,
To protect herself.
you have to know at the end, like, first of all, there was no redemption at the end of this
No.
book.
In fact, she got her at the end by like fucking doing the whole sob story. And Elizabeth's like, I'm just waiting for her to, kind of like apologize and give in. And she admits it, but she's like, it's all crocodile tears. She's like,
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
That's
No.
how I read it in my head.
Can we also, okay, so Jessica's a stupid bitch. And she never gets redemption at all at the end of this book. And Elizabeth, like, I'm assuming at the end of the actual series, something fucking this girl goes to prison for like murdering. She's like Elizabeth, Big Eyes lady.
She becomes a mule. I think she becomes a mule.
Yeah, right.
I think they're like, here, carry this heroin up your asshole.
Yeah. And she's like, but I didn't know it was. I thought it was just the butt plugs I was supposed to use.
And then it's Orange is the New Black, and she's in that episode.
Right.
She's that Elizabeth lady that developed all the cancer shit that now is in prison.
Who had a low voice and talked like this.
No, she has a high voice.
Wait, is this how weeds got developed?
I love that show so
Is one of them?
much.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. Sorry.
I love
we'll talk about
that
later.
show.
Well, she can do no wrong.
Can we talk about something though? This was my biggest problem with this. This moment in the book really fucking pissed me off. When
Which one?
Yeah. When it finally comes out that Jessica oh no, it doesn't come out yet. Okay, the biggest moment for me was that Jessica is standing next to Todd because they got railroaded by this Rick guy, right? Where he like got in their car against their will and started driving really fast.
He pushed them out of they stalled the car, and he pulls up and he's drunk. The same Rick guy, and he's like, just pushes them over and just starts driving the car and almost like running people over.
And calls them horrible name, like Heavenly. Yeah. So he's being a total douchebag, driving them around. And so Todd sees this because he almost gets run over in one of the parking lots. So Todd gets in his Datsun.
Yeah, he
them
did.
Down the road.
Fuck yeah, I got that Datsun, which is a Nissan today. For all you kids,
Just so
Datsuns
you know.
are Nissans now.
So he cuts him off, pulls in front. Him and Rick get into a fight. Todd knuckles him and knocks him out in the belly, and he stumbles over. Jessica gets out, goes up to Todd and says, thank you. And Elizabeth is there and puts her hand on his face to say, are you okay? And then as Jessica's trying to muscle in, Elizabeth cuts in front and kisses Todd and does not care.
She said,
he's
not
sexually
today.
Yeah, not today. She pulls in.
She
did. She steps in front of Jessica and looks at Jessica and says, not today. And then she kisses him and makes him hers. Except she still doesn't know that he didn't fucking.
She was turned on by what Rick had, the power that Rick came in. Like I think she was feeling. She was like, I don't even fucking care. I've never felt this exhilarated in my life.
She doesn't care that
she's
he
never
like
had that
fucking
kind of excitement.
sexually abused.
Not
her
in that
sister?
moment. She was a wild bitch at that moment. She
Elizabeth?
was telling
And then
Jessica
also-
no. She was like, yeah, I think she turned into that dirt road, into that dirt
awful,
gravel
because
parking
nobody
lot.
knew Todd wasn't a sexual predator at that moment, and she's still
Agreed.
like, I forgive you.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then Rick, are we talking about how old is this dude?
Right.
I think he's like 35.
It's Mo.
He's got to be like 20, like he's in his 20s.
23 probably, yeah.
And he's just taking 16-year-old chicks to bars, drinking. Can we talk about the police squad at this Sweet Valley High?
By the way.
He's just running people off the road in his Camaro. He is just
At the Dairy
all
Burger.
over the place.
Not the
At
Dairy
the
Getting
Dairy
Queen.
Burger.
minors drunk driving, recklessly all over the place. I want to talk to the commissioner of this town.
Her dad's a lawyer, and they're letting these fucking horrible people run the town.
And they're making out in the front of the house.
Yeah.
Like, I wish my kid would.
We still haven't gotten back to, allegedly, the dad is sleeping with his assistant.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, well, somehow it's all just totally fine and dandy because it was all
She
about
comes over for dinner.
promoting her.
Yeah.
And
she comes over for dinner, and they were going to make her partner because
So
she helped
basically,
in this case. So he's still
Dad
fucking
was-
her.
They're fucking.
Right.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
totally having sex.
Mariana.
Mariana.
Well,
I don't
they
know if
didn't
they're
talk
having sex,
about
but-
what the mom was doing.
No.
She was the one working late hours. See, they were trying to pull a little
That's
twist
true.
right
Why
there.
didn't they?
Again,
Yeah, the mom is the one
they
working
were
late
trying
hours.
to
And
put
they never...
the focus on dad, but they didn't focus on mom also working late hours.
I think it's just
Where
a
is
true
Mom?
reflection of how girls and kids at that age are so self-fucking absorbed that they can't
Self-absorbed.
even acknowledge what is really happening around them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, I'm so fat and terrible and blah, blah, blah.
What if
Yeah,
the dad and the mom were like meeting up with Mariana
That's probably
and
what was
having
going on.
experiences, and they were just like, I'll be working late, and so will I.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And then they're meeting
Drop your
up.
keys in the basket.
Exactly.
I love though that I love and hate that they left a cliffhanger at the end, because then it makes you want to read the next book.
I need to know what is happening with Enid.
That's right.
Elizabeth's best friend.
Secrets.
Sweet nothing.
So, if you guys are interested in the cliffhangers, since we covered everything, you'll have to read book 2
Yes,
of
we
Sweet
will.
Valley High
Book
called
2.
something.
Called Secrets.
Secrets.
That motherfucker's
Oh, is that
called
what it's called?
Secrets.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Secrets. Let me scroll. I'm pretty sure. Go to the end. It's Secrets.
I am going to go back
Because
and
it even leaves you with a cliffhanger sentence, which was my favorite.
Let's put this out there. The books your children should be reading are fucking Judy
Are
Blume.
not this.
No. Let's go. 9-year-olds on should be reading Judy Blume. She covers everything. She takes care of you.
Why on earth is this not a banned book series?
Right?
But some of these
Because
other
it's
ones,
men being sexual predators,
because
and
they're
that is
white.
okay.
They're
'Cause
white,
they're
and they
white.
have bluish green eyes, and they hate their perfect bodies.
So literally, this is how this
Hate
book
them.
ends. These are the last 2 paragraphs.
Yay. Okay,
Yes.
read. Let's have it.
The sharp ring of the doorbell announced Enid's arrival. Elizabeth had invited her friend to come over after dinner and spend the night. Elizabeth opened the door. There stood her friend, tears streaming down her face. Enid, what's wrong? Liz, I don't know what to do. Something terrible has happened. I can't even tell you. It's so awful. But I do know Ronnie is going to hate me, and I could just die. I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything. What is the next dark mystery in Enid's past, and how does Jessica use it to her own advantage? Find out in Sweet Valley High, number 2.
Fucking-
Secrets.
Jessica!
She's so fucking problematic.
Fucking
She's so fucking
Jessica.
problematic.
And why
Fucking
would he even come over and be like, I can't even tell you, and then now we're going to have another
I
200-page
can't even
book.
tell you.
But let me tell you in like
Then why did
120
you come over?
pages.
Right.
I hate all of them.
Well, at least we remembered, and now we know. The whole idea was we brought it up. We couldn't remember the stories, or if it was even like, I wonder how that comes across. It comes across exactly as we would have expected.
Yes.
Right?
But if we didn't read it, I would have probably let my kid read it thinking, oh, I read these when
Yeah.
I was a kid.
I'd be like, oh, I read these. Absolutely.
Stick with the
Do not
Babysitter's
let
Club.
your children read these books.
Babysitter
This
Club.
should be a banned book.
It should be a banned
Should
book.
we reread those, though? The Babysitter's Club? Is there really...
The newer ones are actually.
I think we need to get. I think we should get into the older one. Let's
Ooh.
get in. Maybe this should be a thing.
What
Let's
happens
revisit our
in the
childhood
baby?
literature.
I
Let's
think there's probably
revisit
a
our
lot of
childhood
books.
literature.
Did you
to
guys
see
ever do
how
the
appropriate
Choose Your
it
Own
is.
Adventures?
Oh, yeah.
Those were my favorites.
I bought my boys some, and they love them, and I have them like the originals. Like,
Dude, my book
I want
clubs.
those.
Remember the Scholastic book fairs?
hell yeah!
All I got were Choose Your Own Adventure
We
books.
should
They
do
were
a
my
Choose Your Own.
favorites.
Let's do a Choose Your Own Adventure, and I do want to read a Judy Blume book because I want to know whether it's going to be appropriate for Sienna being her age.
They
And
are.
it's supposedly really
All
good
of
for,
Judy Blume's books are pretty appropriate.
We have them.
They're
They're-
kind of timeless.
They're topical, though. Like, they're really specific about what's
They're
going
topical
on.
and timeless. Yeah.
So let's read Are You There, God? And then
They're
we
not
can-
like this. This is more vapid.
This
It's
is
more of a vapid
superficial.
story of like
bullshit.
yeah, just very
Soap opera.
superficial. Yeah, it's and none of it's important. Nothing that's happening
There's not a lesson
is
learned.
worth
No, other than just
nothing.
she's a
Like
stupid
nothing.
cunt.
And there's just a cliffhanger. It's
Yeah.
literally Real Housewives
It's
of
soap
Sweet
opera
Valley High
in a book. Yeah.
in the 80s. Yeah, this is what we had before Housewives. This is what we had before Annie
Before
Cohen.
90210.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yes. Before Tori
Talking
Spelling.
about Tori and his daughter.
Tori.
Moms are too.